Welcome on into the Thursday edition of Sports Memo Today. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, alongside today, Joe D'Amico and Nick Parsons of SportsMemo.com. Going to hopefully be getting you some winners. You see to the side of me, we're talking a little MLB on the diamond, and then we're going to the gridiron and talking some CFL. Nick Parsons has a play for you, a barking dog coming up in the CFL this weekend that he's going to be getting into. But before that, the man who needs no introduction, Joe D'Amico, is with us, and I can't believe we're coming up on the 54th birthday, Joey D. I mean, you're turning 54 years young. You don't look a day over 22. Come on, baby.
I know that Jesse Shule looks like he's my great grandfather, but I think I'm one of the oldest guys on the Sports Memo website. Let me tell you, God's got a great sense of humor. Us Italians and Sicilians, we can't dunk a basketball. We've got no war heroes, but we look a lot younger than what we are. So, yes, I'm coming up on 54. Just to celebrate that, my good friends over at SportsMemo got a great special. We'll tell you about that in a minute. But I am very honored to be here. I enjoy doing the SportsMemo Today show, Dan. You're one of my favorite people in the industry. You always bring it. You're so good at promoting us. But I'm happy to be here with my good friend Nick Parsons. I am worried about one thing. Between me, you, and Nick Parsons, we're three good-looking sons of bitches. People might tune in and think this is a dating show and not a sports betting show. It might be like The Bachelorette or something, and we're the three finalists.
Yeah, so just don't let Dion get any word of that. So we'll definitely we'll keep that just to the stream there, Joey D. I got your back, man. I'm not letting you get in the doghouse. The weekend's right around the corner. I know you got plans. Absolutely. I know you got to get to that Vegas Golden Knights parade. I don't want you sitting in the doghouse all weekend long. So
no
we'll
doghouse.
Move right past that for the birthday weekend.
Thank you, buddy. I knew I could depend on you. So anybody, if you talk to Dion, don't tell her this is a dating show.
It's a secret. It's a secret. Nobody knows. But, of course, everyone watching live. And if you are watching live, make sure you hop in those comments. And also make sure you hit that bell. If you're just joining us, you want to stay subscribed to Sports Memo TV so you never miss any of the great programs we have here. But, Joey D, let's get right into it, man. We got some baseball plays. You got one on the run line that you like quite a bit, but you also just got a money line play. So we'll let you start off with the money line play you got for the folks. What are we eyeing in some baseball action on Thursday?
Well, Dan, sports fans, there wasn't too much that caught my eye in today's baseball card, but this is a game that definitely did catch my eye. And if the line would have been a little bit lower, it would have most likely made it as a premium release over at SportsMemo. There's no question that the NL Central, the weakest division in baseball. And to be quite honest with you, it's really anybody's division to take as of this point. The Pirates, which looked pretty strong for a while, are starting to crack a bit. No denying that. They lead the Brewers by just one game and the Reds by a game and a half. They dropped 5 of the last 7, come into game 3 of this series. Obviously, guys, as we all know, they dropped games 1 and 2 with the Cubs by a combined 21-9. As far as Chicago's concerned, guys, they sit in 4th place, 4.5 back in the division. One thing about the Cubbies, my friends, they're a streaky team. When they lose badly, and they lose a lot. But when they win with authority, and they start streaking. And right now, guys, they are streaking. They've won 4 of the last 5 to once again get over the hump at home, 17-16 at Wrigley. They've had their way with Pittsburgh, taking 8 of the last 10 meetings and going back a bit. 44 of the last 62 played where? In Chi-Town at Wrigley. Oviedo, Stroman, they're scheduled here today. The Pirates right-hander 3-5 with a 4.16, while the Cubs righty 7-4, 2.42. While Oviedo has done okay against today's opponent, Stroman has certainly struggled when facing the Pittsburgh bats. But this season, these are 2 very different pitchers than we've seen in recent years. And right now, 2 very different squads, to say the least. It's hard to ignore the fact that Marcus Stroman is 3-0 his last 3 turns with an anemic ERA of 0. That's right, 0.83. He possesses just a 2.15 ERA at home this season. Stats heavily favor the Cubs here as they have won 4 of their last 5 at home, 4 of their last 5 versus right-handed starters. 16 of them is 21 at Wrigley versus teams with a winning record. Like I said, if this line would have been a little bit lower, I would have made it as a premium play, but I still put a strong lean on the Cubs here, sports fans. Take it to the bank.
Great breakdown, and I also love the excitement over healthy red blood cells. I've never seen somebody get so excited over the word anemic. So could you imagine if you were just, you're in the doctor's office, he's like, you are anemic. That's the Joe D'Amico difference right there, baby. I love the breakdown, brother. Cubs on the money line, minus 155. Shop around. There are some little bit of lower prices, but that thing's moving in that direction. So ride on with Joe D'Amico right this moment. Before we get into your run line play, Joe, I did want to ask you, I know that you got a premium play up, a 5%er. Those are on a 7-2 run, so you definitely want to grab that now. But you alluded towards this birthday special that they worked up for you, and I think it's one of the best that we've seen come across, especially over at your page. What can people do to ride with you on the birthday?
Well, Dan, I've got to tell you, Sports Memo, man, they treat me like gold, and I can't thank them enough. My good friend Melissa over there in the promo department, she is just amazing. So, hey, Melissa, thank you for this. Sports fans, here's my pitch. You're going to love it. Are you ready to celebrate my 54th birthday with me, guys? Numbers don't lie. I have more top 10 finishes than anyone in the business. 13-time NFL top 10, 14-time college football, 9-time NFL preseason, 6-time college basketball, 9-time NBA, 10 times MLB, top 10 finish, guys. I have a birthday coming up on July 1st. I want you to celebrate with me. Join me in a special promotion that will allow you to work for me, allow you to work with me for 1 full year at a discounted price. $10 a year that I'm on this earth, $540. You will receive every sport I contribute to for 365 days. That comes to what? 67 cents a day. Whether you bet $10 a game or 10,000, this will be the best investment you ever made, guys. And the D'Amico money train doesn't stop there. Dan and I were talking about my wife, Dion D'Amico, a minute ago. We have a lot of fun with Dion. Anybody that puts up with me for 20 minutes, let alone 20 years, deserves to be canonized as saint by the Pope in Rome. She is crushing it. She's number one on a couple of leaderboards, all sports, MLB, killing it. She's got a special over at Sports Memo from today through All-Star break, just $99. $99! You can't beat that with a bet. No pun intended. No code necessary. But I do want to talk, Dan, if I may. You talked about my 5% game of the month tonight. My top-rated games of the month, 100% in 2023. My 5% plays 7-2 the last 9. You can't argue with success. I'm telling you right now, this game is a winner. Go over to SportsMemo. I want you to stay with me for a year. But if you need to dip the toe, I've got a 5% play posted right now just for you. Follow me tonight. You're going to follow me. You're going to join me at the cashier's cage at the end of the evening. I promise you that.
I'll be right there with you, man.
No, I can't help it.
That he can
that I'm
look so
custom
good.
made. I
So
can't help
good.
it that I
love
look
it,
good,
Joey D.
smell good.
All right, my man. So let's get into this Astros run line play that you have for the folks here. Why do you like them so much to win by margin this evening?
Well, Dan, this game still may make it up as a premium play today over at SportsMemo. I feel strongly about this one, my friends. We're going to talk about the Astros. You know, we're not really accustomed to seeing the Astros anywhere else, but we're atop the American League West. And let's face it, they have looked mortal this season for the first time in many years. However, they're still 39-29. They trail the Rangers by just 3.5 games in the division. With about a month until the midway point of the regular season, Houston, and trust me when I tell you this, they want to be atop this division by All-Star break. And the only way to do that, we all know, by piling up victories. What better team to face to get some W's than the Washington Nationals? Let's be honest, not much is expected of Washington this season, and yet they're still underachieving. Oh, my goodness. Sorry, Nationals fans, but it is true. They dwell in the NL East cellar, 15 games back, 26-40. They possess the second worst record in the NL, the fourth worst overall record of baseball. They've lost 8 of their last 9, which does include what? Games 1 and 2 of this series by a combined 11-5. Whether it be on the mound or at the plate, Washington possesses some of the poorest numbers in the majors. One stat that really stuck out to me, guys, their pitching staff has allowed 5 or more runs in 9 of their last 12 contests. This doesn't bode well in this matchup as the Astros possess the number 1 pitching staff in baseball with a team ERA of 3.25. My point being, guys, it's probable that the Astros pitchers will hold the Nationals lineup at bay, while eventually the Houston offense will light up the Washington pitching staff. Speaking of pitchers, Gore and Javier are scheduled. The Nats left-hander 3-5, 4.04 this season. The Astros righty 7-1 with a 3.13. Gore has not won a game since April 26. Guys, I had hair back in April 26. That's how long he hasn't won a game. And it is true, Javier comes off his poorest performance in more than 2 months, but I will tell you this, don't let that bother you. He comes off, even though he comes off that poor outing, and he did not get a decision, so he's actually 5-0 his last 6 turns. He is red hot. I can give you all the stats and trends in the world that will support Houston here, but just take my word for it, guys. Take the Astros on the run line. It's a winner.
I love it. Terrific stuff there from my man, Joey D. And Joe, you already let him know about that great promotion they have going for your birthday. You're looking like you're ready for the weekend, my guy. So I'm going to let you get the heck out of here. But as always, man, thanks for coming on, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
We'll
Always a
talk to
pleasure.
ya.
And I want to say good luck to my friend Nick Parsons, one of the best in the business.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. Good luck
I
today.
don't know if Nick needs any luck, my man. I don't know if Nick needs any luck, but we'll see. Here we go. Appreciate you coming on, Joey D. And also the fedora. I mean, the look by Joey D. You never know what he's going to be coming with, but you know he's going to be coming with the style. That's the absolute lock of the century. Grab that 5% play going tonight over at Joe D'Amico's page, sm.buzz/JD. Check it out now. While you're there, check out that birthday promotion. Ride with him for a year. As I said, the man who needs no luck because luck has been on his side recently is my man, Nick Parsons, currently on a 24-13 MLB run. We're going to be getting into an MLB play here, Nick. So welcome on in, and let's get right into it with this Angels and Rangers game tonight. What are we thinking here on the diamond?
Yeah, the fourth and final game of this series, Dan. The Angels, they did win the first two quite handily. They won 9-6 in the first and then 7-3 in the second. The Rangers did finally snap a 3-game slide with the 6-3 win last night. I mean, LA, I think it's been decent overall this year. It's 38-32 overall, but just 18-18 on the road now. The Rangers, they're 42-25 overall, but 22-11 at home. So, I mean, this is an interesting matchup for sure, just because of the starting pitchers. We have the potential to see something similar as to what we saw last night with Cole and Verlander, because the Angels, they're going with Shohei Ohtani. He's 5-2 with a 3.32 ERA. The home side counters with Nathan Eovaldi. He's 9-2 with a 2.49 ERA. But Eovaldi, Dan, he's been super impressive over the last month and a half. He's actually 8-0 with a 1.65 ERA over his last 10 starts, and he has to be feeling confident facing the Angels. He's a very respectable 4-2 with a 3.86 ERA in 12 games versus them. Ohtani, he's a slightly less impressive 3-2 with a 4.06 ERA in 7 career starts against the Rangers, and he was pretty pedestrian in his last outing against the Mariners on Friday. He gave up 3 runs off 3 hits. With 5 walks over 5 innings in what turned out to be a no decision. And so, yeah, I see that one breaking down just like this. I think that we're still getting really good value here on a red-hot pitcher and a really good home team.
I love it. And you can follow Nick on Twitter at Nick Parsons Pro. That's Nick Parsons PRO. Check him out over there. A terrific follow, and also a terrific follow if you want to grab those all client, all access plays. Like I said, 65% in the MLB. He just gave you a free play there. Before we get into a little CFL talk, Nick, do you have anything locked and loaded in the MLB tonight for those premium clients?
We do. MLB going tonight, also CFL action, so it segues perfectly into this one for sure. You want to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into CFL, because honestly, I'm a football guy through and through, and I feel like the CFL does get that itch for me, especially when I'm cashing in along experts like yourself, like over at wagertalk.com. Andrew McGinnis does a terrific job. Him and Carmine have that CFL preview show, so I'm loving this more CFL talk. I'm going to try and dip my toe in the water here, but for people who I guess are uninitiated, how do you suggest them going this weekend as a free play for them? You got a breakdown here in the Calgary Stampeders taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks. How are you going to be betting this one?
Yeah, I actually really like this play. It could become a client play by tonight, so also check that out. So I could have 2 CFL plays up by this evening. But nice. Going full on contrarian with this one, Dan, that's definitely my style. With nearly 70% of the public money on Calgary, while the majority go one way, I'm going to go the other way on this one. The line did open at 4.5 in this one, and it's since been, gone up to 6.5. And so if you can get 6.5, you might be able to get 7. And if you can't, I would even consider buying a half point or even the full point to get 7.5, as long as you can get it under -140 or so. But either way, I am on the Red Blacks myself here with the points. And, as terrible as the Ottawa's Red Black Nick Arbuckle looked last week, they lost 19-12 to Montreal. The defense actually looked really good for Ottawa. Arbuckle had 175 passing yards. He had no touchdowns, and he had 3 interceptions. Now, Devontae Williams, he had 32 rushing yards and a touchdown. But for me, when I'm looking at it, I just think that there's only one way Arbuckle's performance can go this week, and that's in a positive direction. And facing his former team here, I think he's going to improve. But the bottom line for me, Dan, is just I think Calgary is just getting too much respect on the road here. The Stampeders also enter 0-1 straight up and 0-1 against the spread. They lost 25-15 as 2.5-point favorites at home to BC last weekend. Jake Meyer was just 20 of 36 for 166 yards. He did have a touchdown, but he also had an interception. And then their star running back, Kadeem Carey, he only had 39 yards on 7 carries. This just is not the same Calgary Stampeder offense from 5 years ago, Dan. I think it's going to have a hard time pulling away as a big, try to cover on the road this weekend. So I'm not going to go so far as to call for the outright upset, but I do think that this is too many points to cover here. So I'm grabbing the points and the home side on the lone CFL game tonight.
Full on contrarian, but saving you some units by not calling for the outright upset, but maybe a little bit closer than the market and a lot of these folks betting the CFL would assume here with the Ottawa Red Blacks. He's fading the Stampeders in a potential bounce back game for them. Nick, it's always a pleasure, man. Love having you on again. Check him out on Twitter at Nick Parsons Pro. And that's going to do it for another edition here of Sports Memo Today. On Thursdays, I try and get you that actionable info in 15 minutes or less to get you ready for the weekend. But we'll take it in 20 minutes or less here on another edition coming to a close. But when Joe D'Amico's on it, it's probably a lock. Hammer the over, because the breakdowns and screaming the word anemic, it takes a little bit of time. So big thanks to our man, Joe D'Amico. Big thanks to Nick Parsons as well. I've been your host, Dan Alexander. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Hopefully a little more money in our pocket right here on Sports Memo Today.